Hi everyone, I'm just coming on because now the congestion charges in Oxford have been implemented. I went to the protest in 2023. There was nobody took any notice of that. They carried on. Before that, right at the beginning, when they first did the idea of all this, it was on MSN, which is a redundant social media site. And that's the thing with these lot. It's very, very sneaky. Very, very sneaky. Everything's sneaky. Nothing's told to you properly. It's all sort of half truths and, smoke and mirrors with these people. The thing is, right, why should you have to pay for a pass to do the things that you've always done because somebody at the council who's obsessed with his bike has decided, Andrew Gant, that you now have to pay money to get to the places where you've always gone to those places without having to pay these things? Why should you comply to that? I'd like to know why we should comply to that, because also the council offices, we went to the council offices quite a few times and they had bouncers on the door that was paid for by the taxpayers' money so that we couldn't question Gant on this. And so now it's come to pass that you've got to pay £5. Now, do you really honestly think that's staying at £5 a day? It's temporary. Well, I'm sure the next one, when it's permanent, is going to be probably a lot more money. And why should you have to ask permission from the council to do your normal stuff? To go to the hospital even? Or you can get the park and ride to the hospital. What if you haven't got a pass? What if you've run out of passes and there's an emergency in your family? What, you've got to wait for the park and ride? Otherwise you incur a fine? I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. And it's going to ruin Oxford, our beautiful city, Oxford, that I've lived in all my life, is being ruined by this crazy man on a bike who thinks he's God. You know, Hitler comes to mind. A climate change Hitler. His surname's Gant, I'm sure that's German. But, he thinks he's God. And if you all comply to it, then you are only at fault for having your own prison, because Oxford will become a prison. That's what it's going to become. And all the businesses, already they've ruined it. It's halfway ruined, and they'll ruin it even more. Defy, resist, defy, and do not comply. That's the only way, isn't it? That's the only way. Because, who gives him the right to decide when people were at the council offices and were not allowed to speak? They were thrown out if they opened their mouth. And he just sat there dictating what things were. And each time that he says things, a lot of the things he says are lies. A lot of the things he says are lies. And as I say, it's going to be awful. And it's already awful. And it's only 2 days in. Because if you don't pay that £5, you have to pay a £70 fine. Well, and you get 25 passes if you're outside of the Oxford area. What if you've got elderly relatives in Oxford that are not on a bus route? Because he doesn't care. It's all about his agenda. It's all about this climate change, which is absolutely lies. It's a way to make money for the council, and it's a rich man's con. And all these electric buses and all the rest of it, electric buses are much worse for the environment. Lithium is really bad for the environment. Much worse than, fossil fuels, which are natural. He's a useful idiot to the globalists. That's what he is. All of them. They're useful idiots to the globalists. And if you want to research this more, I suggest you start with Agenda 21, Agenda 30, Operation Lockstep. Just start doing your own research, because I'm telling you, this is just a start. With this and the digital ID, our descendants are going to have no hope. It'll be the Hunger Games. It will be. Zones, Hunger Games, because they're exempt, by the way. The council are exempt, and all the royal family are exempt. They're exempt from all of it. But you, that work hard, do all the right things, you're the ones that are going to have to pay. Unless you don't comply. That's all I've got to say.